Welcome back to Valencia and welcome back to the King Air B200. We're again looking at a straight-in landing, but this time we have a 5-knot crosswind at 210 degrees, which is directly to our left, so that crosswind is going to be pushing us to the right. There are a couple of mistakes on this which are useful in the sense that they allow me to explain how those two mistakes happen. Now, with any landing, you're looking at an aiming point and a touchdown point. The aiming point is the point at which you would impact the runway if you didn't flare, and for me that is always the numbers. But you're looking at touching down within the first third of the runway. Obviously, with a shorter runway, you're going to have to be more efficient. You're going to have to be more efficient with your touchdown point. Now, we're crabbing for most of the approach. When I can make out the features of the center line, then I'll switch to the wing low method. With the wing low method, in this instance, we're using right rudder to rotate the nose of the aircraft so it's pointing down center line, which is very important. You want to be straight when you touch down. But if that's all that we did, that wind would still push us to the right. So to counteract that, we're going to drop the left wing a little bit. We're going to use left aileron to stop ourselves being pushed to the right. It's quite a complex balancing act, and you'll see me constantly making adjustments with more rudder, more aileron, less aileron, trying to keep it as in control as possible, keep it on center line with the rudder, but also stopping that drift to the right with left aileron. Now you'll notice that also that I touch down with the left wheel first, which is the upwind wheel. That is perfectly normal. Don't think that because you're touching down with the upwind wheel first that it's a bad landing. That's just how crosswind landings work. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be a little bit long. You'll see me flaring a little bit early, and that's simply because I'm really preoccupied with keeping it on center line and avoiding that push to the right. You'll also see I don't get the descent rate quite right. I'm descending at maybe 200, 250 FPM, so it's significantly more than I want. I don't quite get the flare right, I don't quite hold the pitch of the aircraft exactly right, and I should just give it a little bit more power. But again, there's so much going on in that final bit of the approach and the flare that it's difficult to combine all these things at once. But those are the things that you need to work at. You've got to be using the rudder, you've got to be using the aileron, you've got to be in control of the pitch of the aircraft, you've got to be looking at the airspeed, and you've also got to be looking at the descent rate. So there's a lot to be calculated, there's a lot to be looked at in that final approach. So you're going to be busy with a lot of different things on the final approach. You see we're coming in with full flaps, looking for 100 knots airspeed, looking at around about 500 feet per minute descent. And at this point we're looking for detail, we're looking to be able to make out the center line so that we can start to use the wing low method. As you approach, you're crabbing the aircraft, you're a little bit off center in the sense that you're pointing a little bit left of the runway to avoid being pushed to the right. Now it's very easy to just give a little bit of rudder to straighten it up. If you just give it rudder to straighten it up right at the end, you're still going to be pushed to the right. There's a temptation not to use that left aileron, but if you do that, it's surprising how much you'll get pushed to the right. So here we are, we're just using a little bit of rudder, a little bit of aileron, just trying to keep it straight as possible, trying to look for that center line. Sometimes we'll be going a little bit too much one way, so dropping the wing the other way to try to straighten it out. reducing rudder, adding rudder, all the time making corrections, trying to keep it on centre line, trying to find centre line and trying to keep it on there as much as possible. As that 5 knot wind is coming directly from the left. So we're a little bit to the left here, which is better than being to the right. I don't mind coming down just a little bit to the left of centre line. And left wing down a little bit, just fractionally touching on the left main wheel first and touch down. So not a perfect landing, but I would certainly be quite happy with that in a normal flight. So as always, you've got to just practice these approaches. Take it down to a 5 knot crosswind. When you're happy with that, move it up to a 10 knot crosswind. But get used to making these corrections while at the same time constantly looking at your instruments, checking your airspeed, checking your vertical speed, looking up. Don't focus on one thing for too long. Keep looking between the two things. Look at the runway, look at your instruments. Keep on top of everything. It's very easy to obsess about one thing, for example looking at the runway, then you look at your vertical speed and it's maybe 700, 800, 900 feet per minute, and suddenly you're lower than you want to be. So an imperfect approach, but a reasonable crosswind landing. Hope you found that useful, and as always, feel free to like, comment and subscribe.